Hi folks, I'm knee-deep in gear here, getting ready for a hot tent camping adventure. Finally our schedules and the weather have come together in order to allow us to go out for a couple days on a hot tent camping trip. So I've started laying out all the gear, and I thought I'd do a quick gear loadout video just to show the equipment that we use. Now you have to remember that everybody's gear choice is personal to themselves. So things that work for one person might not work for someone else, or they might not feel comfortable with it. That's the most important thing, is you need to feel comfortable with your gear because you're relying on that out there. So for our hot tent camping trip, these are the things that we use. They might not be ideal for everyone though. You might be concerned more with budget or with weight. So you need to pick what's comfortable for you. So let's start off with the tent. So this is our hot tent that we use for the winter. This is a Bereg MFP4. It is a Russian-built tent. Most of you might know it from the distributor known as the Bear Market. We purchased ours from a distributor here in Canada located in Nova Scotia. It is a bit of a beast as far as weight and size goes, but this is an exceptionally built tent. The attention to quality and detail on this tent is truly amazing. I will do a review of this tent in the future, but we've been very happy with it. We used it all last winter, no issues whatsoever. If you're not familiar with this style of tent, it opens like an umbrella, so it really can be set up in a matter of minutes, and it does very well in wind and snow load. So the tent can be used just by itself. Set it up on the ground, or you can add the optional insulated floor. The insulated floor doesn't add a lot for weight as far as what the tent weighs, but it is, fairly bulky. So we do feel that the insulated floor is worth taking out because it adds a level of comfort to your camping setup. It's really nice to be able to go into your tent, take your boots off, and put on a pair of booties like these, be able to walk around in the tent and not have cold feet. So for us, the insulated floor is definitely a nice add-on. And just so you know, not my first color choice. So next we'll talk winter camping kitchen. So if you're not familiar with winter camping or hot tent camping, there are some things that you do a little bit opposite in the winter in order to deal with your food. I do include this in my kitchen kit because I kneel on it when I'm cooking at the stove. So we'll just include that with the kitchen supplies. So to start off, we've got Blue Barrel here. Most of you would be familiar with these. They usually come in 30 and 60 liter sizes. A lot of people use them for canoe camping. We do have the 30 liter size, but what I really liked about this smaller one, this is actually a 20 liter barrel, is it's got a flat bottom. So there's no curved sides on the bottom of this barrel. So it makes it really nice and sturdy to be able to sit in the bottom of the sled. It's not tipping over, it can still sit upright, and the 20 liter size we find is about right for about maybe 3-4 days. Have no problem packing all the food in the 20 liter barrel. Of course, egg crate containers, always useful. Now, this is one thing with winter camping, is you need to be mindful of things that you don't want to freeze, like your eggs. You don't want egg sickles until you've cooked them. So, with things that you don't want to freeze, you want to put them in something insulated like a cooler. So here we have just an old lunch cooler. It's got hard plastic inserts, so it makes it easy for cleaning. But we put anything in here that we don't want to freeze, like our eggs. I've also used this to just put outside the tent with any meat in it, and to keep it frozen. So it can be used inside the tent or out, depending on what you have in it. Here we've got a little camp table. I really like this little table. I picked it up off of Amazon. It's an Alps Mountaineering table. super convenient because it's really easy to fold back down and get out of the way. So if you want it when you're preparing a meal to set your pots on, there it is. If you want it to get out of the way, super easy to fold down and get out of the way. So next we've got insulated thermal flask bottles here. What these do is we fill them with water before we head out, and it'll keep your water from freezing during the day, depending on what the outside temperatures are. And of course, they also can be used to keep drinks hot. So what we'll end up doing is filling these with hot boiling water. There are stainless steel inside, and then just setting them aside. And they'll usually still be warm after about 10 hours. The water will still be warm inside. So then you can let the water cool down if you want a cool drink, but it keeps the water from freezing. So next, what I've got here is what I use to organize the components of my camp kitchen. This is just a lightweight backpack that people might use for an overnighter or to take on as a carry-on a plane. I got it to organize all the various parts of my camp kitchen so that everything is really easy and quick to find. Very lightweight. What I normally end up doing is I can just zip this open and store it underneath my camp cot in the tent when I'm not using it. And then of course it keeps everything in one nice package, and it's easy to throw into the sled and take with you. So this bag allows me to easily pack things like our frying pan, stainless steel plates, all easily found in one of the slots here, insulated mugs, camp cutlery and cook kit, hot pot holders, pots, container for a little beverage, mitt for using with the stove for hot pots, some tea towels, and dishcloths. Everything fits nice into one bag. It's all together, easy to find. And I also just wanted to show here that we have our GStove for our camp hot tenting setup, and we have the water reservoir with it, which is really handy. In my other review, I've shown this. It holds 3 liters of water. I've just got a plastic bag over the spout there to keep it clean. But I wanted to show you that on the inside, if you want to add snow to it, we found, you can usually find multiple varieties of these, but this is one of these snap together bowls. And if you just snap together one side of it, it makes a great scoop for getting snow and adding it to the water reservoir. So I just wanted to throw in that little trick. So next, let's talk sleeping bags and cot arrangements inside the tent. So we're trying something a little bit different this year. Last year we went with the Teton Sports camp cots. Very sturdy. We were quite happy with them. They're quite comfortable. Very heavy though. That cot itself weighs 20 pounds. And you get 2 of those in a sled, and you know, it's considerable weight. So this year we are going to give these a try. Naturehike cots. They make a camp cot. We got the one with the extendable legs. So it does sit up fairly high, and 7 pounds versus 20 pounds. So I'll let you know how this goes, but we're going to give these a try this year. So next we want to talk bags for your sleeping gear. Obviously you don't want to get it wet while you're transporting it into where you're camping. So we picked up this rubberized bag from Mountain Equipment Co-op. It's a very good size bag. I think it was 120 liter. Clamshell opening. It's got zippered pockets here on the top, so I've got some extra rope in there. This basically holds our sleeping pads, sleeping bags, pillows, all that sort of thing. Of course, to go with our camp cots, we need something for some back support, which is always nice. Rather than take chairs with us, we just take these stadium chairs. They work really well on the camp cots, give you some back support, and they're pretty comfortable in the wintertime, so those are nice to have. Again, some people would consider that a luxury item, but it's whatever you are willing to carry into the bush. For sleeping, we do have the Thermarest pillows, and I did make some nice flannelette sleeping or pillowcases to go with them, which feel really, really nice in the winter. So those are nice and comfy at night. We've got Hotcore Fleece sleeping bag liners, the standard size for my husband's, mummy size for mine. Sleeping pads, and now because we have cots, there's basically no insulation underneath us. It's just air movement underneath us. Pretty much the same as if you were sleeping on the ground. You've got no insulation quality underneath you. Sleeping bags don't do anything to insulate you from the cold from the ground or from the air, because when you're laying in a sleeping bag, it's all compressed. So it doesn't offer any insulation value, or very, very little. So when you're winter camping, whether you're hot tenting or cold tenting, you want to make sure that you've got a decent insulation underneath you. So here we've got the Climate Insulated Static V Lux. Now it's the R value that you're interested in when you're picking a sleeping pad for the winter. So pretty much a 5 and over you're going to be safe with. This is an R value of 5. What I have is just your standard self-inflating foam core mattress, fairly inexpensive nowadays, these ones are. This is an R value of 5.4. So those offer enough insulation underneath you to keep you warm in your sleeping bag. You can also double up on your R value. So if you have a couple sleeping pads that are lower than 5, you can stack them on top of each other and increase the R value. For sleeping bags, I have the Marmot Down women's version. It's Ouray. It's for 0 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 18 Celsius. Still obviously in its storage sack. I do have a compression sack for it that I'm going to be putting that in order to take it with us. I've used this last season. It's a very good bag. I found it very comfortable. It kept me really nice and warm. It's got a lot of nice features with it. 650 fill down, weight 3 pounds 10 ounces. Nice winter bag. My husband's bag is the Hotcore Fatboy. It's rated to minus 20. He doesn't like the restrictive feel of a sleeping bag, so he likes the big size to the Fatboy, and he was quite happy with that. It comes with its own compression sack, obviously just in a storage bag for now. Because of the size of the sleeping bag, what I did to find a storage bag for it was I just went with a inexpensive mesh bag that you'd keep like soccer balls, gym balls in at school. So that works well. And then we also have our dog that we're going to be taking with us. We have a chocolate lab. Her name is Mozzie. She absolutely loves winter camping. So we have just a very lightweight dog bed for her. But don't worry, she also has her own sleeping bag and blankets and a reflective pad liner, so she's all good. But that's what we put down first for her to lay on. And then we also just have a wire length of rope that we take with us so that we can hook her up to a tree or what have you, so that we can make sure that she's always safe and nearby. Also thought I'd just add that, while not necessary, sometimes your sleeping pad can shift off of your cot at night. So I've got just flat strap bungees. Just put one around the cot to keep your sleeping pad in place, keep it from shifting, especially if you're near the stove. You don't want your sleeping pad shifting over too close to the stove. So this is a really easy solution, just a strap around the cot and around the sleeping pad keeps it in place. I wish I could always pack that fast. So next we're going to go over tools and other incidental items that you'll want to take with you. For starters, first aid kit. We have quite a robust first aid kit that we take with us for winter camping. Last thing you want to be is hurt and cold and not have the right equipment with you in order to deal with it. I put this first aid kit together myself, so it has everything in it that I would want or need. Store-bought first aid kits are great, but you always want to make sure that you're familiar with the items that are in it and don't assume that it has everything that you'll need. You'll often want to add certain items yourself. For example, this year I've added tweezers with a built-in magnifying glass to it because we had some issues with splinters cutting wood last winter, so I think that'll be useful for this year. So some things that are in here: emergency blanket, of course, standard piece of kit with a first aid kit usually. Clotting sponge in case you have a very bad cut. That will help while you're seeking medical attention. Of course, all these things are just going to help deal with the injury until you can seek proper medical attention. So, you know, various things in here: wraps, bandages, painkillers, tourniquet, that sort of thing. And, you know, a good idea to always be familiar with the basic first aid for, you know, everyday things that might happen when you're in the bush. Best to be prepared. So kind of to go along with the first aid theme, we do have the Garmin InReach Explorer Plus. I like the idea of being able to have the map, GPS system, and the SOS system all in one. So I got this last year. We used it last season as well, and I do quite like it. I also like the fact that they offer the ability to be able to suspend your account, so you're not paying a monthly amount when you're not using it. So you do have to pay a small yearly fee, but it allows you to deactivate and reactivate the device for a month at a time when you're going to be using it. So I really like that option. So of course we just have charging bricks here, indoor-outdoor thermometer so you can see how cold it is outside and inside. With hot tent camping, good idea to have a CO2 detector in your tent with you. Lucy lights, string lights, just, you know, some ambient lighting in the tent. But I really do like these woods lights that I picked up. It's almost like a light bulb, so it's nice that it lights up the area underneath the light. I find with a lot of camping lights, they're more like a lantern style, and so if you try to hang them, you're going to have a big shadow underneath them, but not with these ones, so I quite like that. And of course they change colors, which, you know, kind of funky. And as far as tools go, we've got the Fiskars composite splitting axe, a little bit more lightweight, but a good splitting axe. Camillus machete. We have a lot of pine in our area that we're going to be cutting and burning, so the machete is really convenient for taking off all of the little branches. Of course, standing deadwood, you're never going to want to cut down live trees because they're not going to burn very well anyway. Agawa Canyon, this is the 21-inch Boreal Saw. I do have a 24-inch on order, which hopefully will come in before our trip, but excellent saw. This is just what I call my fire kit. Everything in one bag: matches, tinder, everything you need to get a fire going with, Esbit cubes, all that sort of stuff. One handy spot. And just a camping knife. This is the Mora Garberg that I got new this year, so that'll be nice to have out with us. All fits nice in this little rubberized carry bag. So we keep in here, you know, playing cards, binoculars, all that extra kind of gear that's small, just in a nice, secure bag. It's going to keep it dry and keep it secure. Well, folks, this is the gear that my husband and I use for winter hot tent camping. We haul all this in on 2 Pelican sleds. May not be the lightest gear, but it's what we're comfortable with. If you have any ideas or suggestions for your favorite gear, please, by all means, leave a comment below. Till next time, I hope to get a hot tent camping adventure video out shortly, now that I've got everything packed. I hope this gave you some ideas about some equipment that you might want to look into. But again, it's whatever you're comfortable with. So till next time, thanks a lot.